may have seen. His name is Tom Ferry. But Tom, do you know what TGIF really stands for?
Well, I'm only thinking of the old "Thank God It's Friday," but tell me the better version.
Well, honestly, today it's usually "Thank God It's Fanale," last name Friday. But today I'm going to change it just for you. Thank God it's Ferry.
Love
and here we are. Tom, thanks so much for coming on. This is really a pleasure and really cool. So I want to get right into it. We're limited with time, so let's get right into it. You know, everybody had business plans at the beginning of the year. Hopefully, they set everything up, and they had, great things. I mean, I do a morning broadcast every morning to keep people up to date what's going on. And we had the president-elect of NAR on this morning, Charlie Oppler. I don't know if you know Charlie, but Charlie was on this morning with us, and he said that his company, Prominent Property Sotheby's, was having a record first quarter. Mm-hmm. That's all gone now. Tell me, the most important thing, we'll start right there. The most important thing that agents should be doing with business plans and getting rolling now.
Well, the bummer, first of all, hey, David, thanks for having me on the show. And I like the TGIF for your last name. I guess I could steal the same thing, so I appreciate that. Look, for the people that don't know me, I was reflecting on now 31 years of being in this and almost a little north of 33,000 hours of private coaching sessions. So I can tell you, like you, my friend, I am a fanatical business planner. I'm fanatical about tracking and measuring. And I got on the line about almost now 3 weeks ago with our clients in North America. In Europe, it was, a few weeks before that, and literally said, take your plan, throw it in the trash, which means take your budget, your marketing plan, all your numbers, all your expectations, throw it in the trash. It doesn't mean don't plan. But what we know is in a situation like this, we have to go daily, weekly, and 30 days at a time. Daily, weekly, and 30 days at a time. Daily, what's up, Matthew? Good to see you, buddy. Daily is like, what are you committed to today, right, David? And I know with your tribe, you're doing the same thing. Like every day we need to be looking at the hot sheets. Every day we need to be reaching out to our past clients in Sphere. Every day we need to keep our business moving forward, getting a little ahead of myself. Every day you got to have an intention and a plan. And then for the week, what is it that I want to accomplish this week? And then for 30 days. And I can tell you proudly, we've got thousands and thousands of clients all over the world that are now doing these short form, simple, just in the next 30 days. Like, what can I accomplish? Like right now, my tribe, we're all about this. It's no zero April, right? Like everybody's going to get a transaction on the board. And that is also being very sensitive that I have clients all over the world, right? So someone maybe in Sardinia, Italy is dealing with different things than my clients in Manhattan or Hoboken, New Jersey, right. Different from Miami, different from Ohio, different from, Seattle and where I am in Newport Beach, California. I'm mindful of all of that. But everybody, based upon what's happening in the world today, can move somebody forward. And that would be my short version of, yeah, you got to have a plan.
So I've always watched your stuff, and we've been talking about different things and having that plan, right? So your plan is broken down into three things. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's safety first, keep your business moving forward, and load the cannon, right?
Yeah. So the plan is, I could literally send you a copy of it. It's more about how many days you're going to work,
right?
How many appointments you're going to book, how many virtual presentations are you going to do? And right now, David, how many virtual meetings are you going to have where you secure a yes? And whether you're launching that listing now or in the future doesn't make a difference, but you're securing the yes. And then how many properties will you launch, depending upon where you are in the world, being mindful of that. And then obviously, right, how many buyer presentations will you have, buyer consultations, all done virtually now?
Exactly.
So breaking that down. But you're referencing what I came out with 3 weeks ago, which is, here's my 3 rules, right? Just almost like all of us have values like honesty and integrity and love and knowledge and wisdom, right? The 3 rules are safety first, right? You, your family, and most importantly right now, your finances. Right? No one knows when this is going to end. And if you, for all of you out there watching, a lot of people right now are making it worse than it is versus what it is. You don't want to make it better. You don't want to make it worse. You want to just see it for what it is. The question I'm asking everybody today is, if you didn't sell a house for the next 30 to 60 days, 90 days, what's your cash position? And that's an important conversation for people to be having right now. I'm not being negative. I'm being very what is. If that's the case, how long can you go? And then what are you going to do about it? And that becomes, David, very personal. When you talk money, that puts a squeeze on a lot of people emotionally. But
it does.
Safety first being my first rule.
Right, exactly. So when we talk about doing business and all everything you just put out there, I mean, we need to be very cognizant of the fact that even though we're isolated at home and all that stuff, it is safety first, but it's a fluid situation, right? I kind of hate that phrase, but we have no choice but to use it. Yeah. So it's a fluid situation, which means every day could be different. Every day moves forward. So when we're talking about working, we're talking about virtual. And Matt, of course, comes out with the thing we're going to talk about, which is that virtual agent. And what's going on there, and how does virtual really come to being, and do you think it'll last once we get out of this? But let's talk about present first.
Yeah. Well, so, maybe it's different in my world with our tribe, because 3.5 years ago, we switched from, telephone coaching sessions to using Zoom.
Right.
So,
we just do.
Yeah. Our community is very comfortable in this environment. And when we said to them, hey, that same buyer consultation you would do where you'd sit in your office and you'd open up the MLS and you'd, hand somebody a little cup of tea and you'd have a conversation about different communities. And did you know this? And did you know that? Well, now we're just doing the same thing. We're just doing it like we're doing it here. Right. And same thing with listing appointments. This morning on one of our trainings, I had the great Carolyn Young from Northern Virginia, a great RE/MAX agent, and Eileen Rivera from Long Beach, California. So, polar opposites of the country. And yet Carolyn said, look, I've listed 8 houses already. And I think today's April 7th. And she listed 25 last month. And Eileen is in the same situation. These women are dealing with clients of all ages, right? Clients of all abilities when it comes to tech. And, hey, David, I'm going to send you an email and I want you to open it up. And if you don't find it, look in your junk email. And then when you see it there, just click on that link. And what's going to happen is you're going to see me live.
Right.
And whether it's those two or my client, Maxine Gellens, who's going to be 83, like 83 years old, and she is a legend in the business. She listed 2 properties just in the last 4 days, and she's doing it via Zoom. So the world has shifted. The hard part is, and I know, David, you're on this as I am, is the hard part is there's just some people in their minds that are in that fixed mindset versus that adapt and change mindset. And what I would remind everybody, if you're having any resistance on technology, let me remind you of 2 things, because it means you're my age or maybe a little bit older. Number 1, you figured out how to drive a stick shift car. So you did.
I love that analogy. That's great. Yeah.
Right. And the second thing is you learned how to use the damn MLS. And if there's anything more complex and stupidly built than that, show it to me. Like all of us, you can learn whatever you want. You just got to lean into it. Right. So starting with the objection in your own head, I can't do it. My clients won't do it. My sellers don't want to do it. If you have that objection in your head, you've already lost before you even ask anybody. That's not fair.
That's true. And except in New Jersey, you learn how to pump gas yourself, but not in here in New Jersey. But anyway, I digress. Yeah. So one of the things we talk about this virtual thing, right? And it's you just said 3.5 years ago, you made the changeover. And I think I started working on that with agents that I worked with for a long time, saying, let's be different and not necessarily better. And this is a long time ago, saying, let's do a Zoom buyer presentation. Right. One of the couple is stuck at work and they can't get out. You don't want to cut traffic. You got your child to come. It's the same thing. It's a different reason, but it's the same thing. Yeah. Where it's convenience now. Is this way of doing business, aside from what I just said, do you think it's going to last as we come out of this in a little while?
So I talk to a lot of CEOs of companies and a lot of my friends that are technology company owners and founders. There's no doubt that the innovation that's pouring in and through our industry right now is rather spectacular. I mean, I used to say it's kind of the rich and the rest. I mean, everybody seems to be adapting the best they can outside of what's going on up here. So yes, I do believe that. Although, listen, every agent in New York, New Jersey, right, in Southern New York, New Jersey, AKA Florida, right? You're like on the phone with the client, like, yeah, David, we want to sell. We're not sure what to do. You're like, hey, like, no problem. You're down in Miami. I'm going to send you a link. I'm going to send you a DocuSign. I'm going to send you my marketing plan. The agents in seasonal markets, second home markets, they've been doing it virtually, over the phone, faxing back in the day. They've been doing it forever. What's going to be fun is I had a client say to me who's on the East Coast, who, traditionally we have to show up for closings. Now, right. I don't know why we actually have to do it. It reminds me somewhat of like the great movie Fiddler on the Roof. Remember the guy like standing on the rooftop playing the violin, and they're like, he's like, I don't know why we stand on the roof and play the violin. It's just tradition. Right? Nobody from like Texas left goes to a closing. No one. And yet we've always done it this way. Well, here's the good news. A lot of our friends maybe watching this are in Manhattan. Think about a closing in Manhattan where you've got agent, buyer, seller, attorney, and one managing broker. 7 people you had to get in one room at one time.
Yeah, I know.
And now today you're like, hey, I don't care where you are. We're sending you a Zoom link. Deal's closed.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I think it has a lot to do with gas pumping. And I say that as a joke, but, it's just we're a little bit backwards back here. New Jersey is such a litigious state, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
So let's take it a different direction here. When we talk about virtual, right? If we're taking listings today and the seller doesn't want you in the house, the seller needs to get more involved, wouldn't you say?
100%. I mean, we just did a training on this today. So, I mean, I think everyone knows. David, let me start by saying there is no one rule that applies to every seller or every buyer, right? Rule number 1 is know your customer, right? Know your customer. So today, like I always say to myself, okay, if Maxine Gellens, God bless her little Bobby socks, if this powerhouse who does, 70 to 80 deals a year, average sales price, $3 million, if she can do this, and she's been selling real estate for almost as long as I've been alive, right? She understands life and business. It's economic Darwinism. You either adapt or you die, right? Like it's that simple. She's like, hey, can you do me a favor? Let's go on FaceTime and I want you just to walk me through the house. She's like, two of her adult grandchildren both play for the Houston Astros. She's been FaceTiming with them since they were in college. Right. So the answer is, again, what's the customer want to do? Some customers just want the information. They want to hear your marketing plan. And then they want to position themselves around timing, which I'm sure we'll talk about today, David. When should I put the home on the market? And others are like, I need to sell it now. And literally agents, and again, state by state, city by city, around the world, you got to pay attention to what's going on in your marketplace. They're saying, hey, here's what I'm going to have you do. You're going to take your phone. You're going to walk through, and here's the 18 photos I need you to take. Exactly. And are, click.
That's exactly what I mean about the seller being more involved. Because what I think that also does, it also gives you a better relationship and a better rapport with that seller.
Okay, so David, now you're talking about something. So listen to this. You can, and all your listeners can appreciate this. David, if I say to you, hey man, I know this show, like everybody always gets a hat. Where's my hat? And you're like, oh, Ferry, it's a different time right now, so I'll send you the hat. It means that we've got like a symbiotic connection here, right? That I can ask and receive and vice versa. If I ask my seller, hey, I need you to do this, and they're like, well, I don't want to do that. You probably already have a relationship issue. You haven't dug deep enough. You don't have enough rapport, right? Or maybe, just maybe, tragically, you got that one crazy person that you probably don't want as a listing anyway. Not in a normal good time and in a time like this. So just gut check yourself. If they resist you, it's because you probably just don't have enough connection yet. You didn't slow down and say, David, first, how you doing today, man? Right? And just checking in with people, because empathy is and will always be the superpower of great salespeople. Empathy, first and foremost. And today, it's got to be on steroids. Not sympathy, empathy.
Exactly. And you've said that many times. Not sympathetic, empathetic. And that's the way it's got to be. And then, if, like you said, if that person doesn't want to do it and you're having difficulty with it, there's an issue right there to begin with.
Right.
And a lot of agents don't understand, or they refuse to say no to a transaction. And all they do is, honestly, they're going to bitch and moan about it all the way through. And what good is that? I mean, okay, so maybe they'll get paid. They didn't gain a customer. They're actually losing business as time goes on, right?
Yeah.
So now we talk about the different types of agents out there. Like, I firmly believe that there's going to be three types of agents coming out of this. There's going to be the agent that had their head in the sand, that didn't do anything. Then you have the other agent that's going to come out of this doing the same thing they did before. And then you're going to have the agent that worked their tails off to either learn and adapt, or either to further what they were already doing.
Yeah.
So how do you get through? As you are called the number one educator in the business, how do you get through that stuck agent with the mindset that really isn't there, and maybe the work ethic isn't so great? How do you get through that stuck agent, or you don't?
So, my heart goes out to those people, truth be told. Like, what I usually say to them is, hey, we need you back. Like, even if you're only going to sell 2 or 3 or 5 homes a year, like, every transaction you do matters. Every customer you help matters. And I know, like, some people, screw those people. Like, listen, I've been doing this for 31 years. All those people are husbands and wives and moms and dads and brothers and aunts and uncles and cousins and friends, right? Like, so I have a lot of, I don't know, I almost said sympathy, right, for where they're at. Because some people really are, David, just emotionally stuck. But I want to remind you, the same people that are emotionally stuck today, like, I look at it like the whole world is like either just always reacting out of fear and anxiety. They're ghosting you, like the buyer that you met, that you fell in love with, that said they want to buy a house, and then they ghost you, right? They stop responding.
Right.
And then you got the people that are moving forward. And that, like, for my entire career, that's been the case. I was at Gary Vaynerchuk speaking at one of my gigs like 5 years ago. And one of my clients from New York, Manhattan, after Gary's talk, lots of bravado, fun guy, super, charismatic.
Right. Absolutely.
And my guy, David from New York, says, hey, Gary, what stock should we buy, man? You're like, your buddy started Uber, you're an early investor in Facebook, and he just went like this. He goes, buy Netflix. Okay, what's the next question? So I'm watching David. I got 1,100 of my top clients in the room. We're in Palm Desert, California, like beautiful time of the year in January. Yep. Everybody's in a growth mindset. And yet when it comes to things like money and work or politics or weight or your sex life, there's just certain things that people just go, bah! Right? And I watched a third of the audience. I'm sitting back in the room, right? And I'm peeping through the green room to see how people are responding. And what you always see is like a third of the people like, oh my God, I invested in a stock once, and oh my God, and I lost money, right? And they just freak out, because people that freak out just freak out, right? Especially when you talk about money, politics, religion, sex, like all the things that we actually want to talk about all the time that seem to freak people out. The middle group went like this, oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, that makes sense. And they wrote it in their notes, right? This is what ghosters do. They write it in their notes and then they don't do anything. And then I watched a third of the people, and I, being honest, I'm like this. Hey, Keith, how much cash do I have in my Merrill Lynch, savings account right now? He's like, you got X. I'm like, put it all on Netflix. He was like, oh, Tom, Netflix is on the down list for us. We're telling people not to buy it. I'm like, yeah, that's great, but I'm the client. Go ahead and buy it anyway. It was at $365. In 6 months, it went to $700. Then it split 7 ways and then went back up to $450. Right now, there's a lot of people watching your show, right? And they're getting good advice. I just want to challenge them to say, look in the mirror and be honest. Are you just emotionally reacting every moment of the day? And if you are, like, God bless you. Like, awareness is the first step of change, right? Just be aware of it. Like, okay, maybe like, I had a client literally say to me, I'm like, how you doing? She's like, just mentally. And I said, like on a Zoom call with like 15 agents on this team. And she was one of the agents on the team. And she's like, this. I'm like, oh, what's going on? She goes, well, I'm just so upset by what's happening. I said, I understand. I said, we all are. I said, like, tell me, like, what's going on? She goes, well, I've been tracking the deaths every day, state by state. And I'm thinking to myself, now I'm looking at this woman, and all I'm thinking is, David, I don't know if she's married, but she acknowledged earlier, because we asked a question about, do you have children? And she said, I got kids. I'm like, what is the dining room table dinner conversation like? Well, today I tracked this many deaths in America. Say that to a 2-year-old and 4-year-old and see how that impacts them. Like, this woman, like, she forgot the fundamental thing that how we feel on the inside radiates everybody on the outside.
Absolutely.
So we helped her there. The second group, they're just ghosting us right now. And the third of us, we're in action. But I'm going to tell everybody, I don't care where you are, we need you back. We need you back. I don't care if it's selling one house. We need you back, because for 31 years, it's 5 million transactions. 5 million buyer side, 5 million seller side, 5 million homes sold every year. And the same thing is going to happen this year.
That's right.
Everybody back to work just a little bit more. That's
right. I mean, we've got an awful lot of people on here. Sekou Pile from this area, developing relationships over everything. Communication is the key. Kim Morelli says hello. Checklist or emotion, professional or emotional. That's from Sekou again. There's so many things that are hitting us. I mean, I reach out to people every day. My goal is to reach out to at least 10 people. 20 is really what I want to hit. And it's hey, even if it's a Facebook friend, if I get that way and I just, hey, I just want to pay it forward. People have done this for me. Look, I live alone. So, I have issues as well to think about, but I keep focused on helping others. And that's what I've been doing since this whole thing started. Right. So, and that's one of the things I try to tell people is, look, think of somebody else look, it's like, you don't know what that guy's feeling over there. You don't know what your neighbor's feeling. Yes. Every day after my broadcast, I walk out on my porch with my cup of coffee and I say, good morning, Lincoln Street, which is where I live. Nobody hears me, but I do it, right? It's getting out there and just deciding, right? When you decide everything else is behind you, you go forward. Yeah. So as we're moving forward, Tom, I mean, Zoom video has really taken over a lot of people's lives. I have so many good friends that are teachers, and there's been the biggest struggle for them is they had to learn it, right? Yeah. Now the second thing is they have to figure out if it's effective, right? Yeah. Now here in the East Coast and Northeast, we have what's called snow days. So when it snows, you get a day off from school, and a lot of administrators are saying, "Hey, we don't need snow days anymore." The thing is, the test scores will show, but people have had to learn it. The point I'm getting to is really simple. It's a simple question that's really not simple at all. Is there a disruptor out there that's going to get into our business or going to be in our business? I said this morning, before I give you the question, I said this morning that I think there's going to be about 100 things coming out and about 95 of them are going to suck. And there's going to be ones that are going to take off. And people are developing now because they're taking the time. They have the time. Do you think that's going to happen to us, or we're just going to move forward with Zoom or whatever we got now?
So I'm relatively connected to this space because I've invested in about 61 different startups. And it's like some people's hobby is like playing golf. Mine is business, right? So that's like even the local, tech meetup group. I'll go and just sit in there and just talk to people. I'm involved with a group that's all healthcare, one that's all real estate. There's no doubt, if you look back over the last 100 years, some of the greatest companies, the companies that we thrive on today, guess what? Were started in times like this, right? Whether it's economic depression, post recovery, in the middle of a depression, in the middle of a recession. We're on Facebook right now. When was Facebook started? Hello, right? Like it was started in bad times, right? Twitter, same thing. YouTube, same thing. So there's no doubt. Do I see anything, David? And I'm pretty close right now. Do I see anything that I think is like actually disruptive? No. I see a lot of what my mentor, Mike Vance, who worked for Walt Disney forever, would say. I see a lot of plussing and enhancing, right? We're going to take this, we're going to make it better, right? Matterport, improving on what it's already done, making things better. And that's cool, right? But unless I'm yet to be in the last, call it 1,000 plus pitches from technology companies, I need to be like this. Oh my God, that's it. What I'm seeing is a lot of perfecting the process, shortening the timeline, making things easier, fulfilling on the sort of transactional process to get it more electronic, to make it easier to like I bought my Tesla on my phone. If I can do that for, $100,000 car, I should be able to do the same thing for a $100,000 house, right? So there's that kind of stuff, but I don't see anything that is just like earth shattering. Oh no, run to the hills.
It's just like, so I'm a big fan of Inman and Inman Connect, and I go to the conferences all the time, and you see Startup Alley, and it's other things that are like maybe offshoots of other stuff, and that's exactly why I asked you the question, because I haven't seen anything that really, floated my boat that I could really like get into and look at. Just as Sekou says, Zoom and the like are going to get better. Mm-hmm. The disruptor is COVID-19. The disruptor is COVID-19 to make us learn how to do things differently and to come out of this. I hope a better society where we're nicer to people, where we're more courteous to people. But I got to tell you, I got a little pet peeve, and that's the phrase social distancing. It's physical distancing. It's not social. And that's one of the things that gets to me. So one of the things I noticed when I was getting ready, and honestly, I do research on everybody I talk to, and most of the times we talk before. And I went into something you'll probably remember. This one, right?
Thank you.
Which I loved and read a long time ago. You were actually out here, I'm going to say 10 years ago, and I spent those few days with you, and I went through that book, and I looked at a lot of different things. And
hold on, I got to ask, was that at the Javits Center?
No, it was at the Meadowlands Convention Center.
Okay, cool.
In New Jersey.
Yeah, I've spoken there many times, but I actually launched the book at the Javits Center, and it would be basically 10 years ago.
Yeah, so we're really close. So that's when I bought it. And okay, you were a little bit younger then, so was I. I mean, I didn't have all this white, right? Look at you, too.
I got that too, partner.
But it's very distinguished, I must say, Tom. But I mean, I think that everything in that book still holds true. And it's a great book because it's evergreen, in my opinion, right? So it's been around for a while. And I mean, look, it says, I mean, the 6 basic things to live life by design: wake up and be aware. I'm having trouble reading my own handwriting. Make the chaos to change, or make the change. Okay, great.
Make the choice to change.
Make the choice to change. Sorry. Create life by design. Do things that bring you power. Practice visualizing and create structure and accountability. And I think nothing has changed there. But in what we're working on today and where we're at today, Tom, what are we missing? Are we missing something? Is there something that I don't know if it's something we should be doing, or is there something that's going on? Is there something that we're missing?
I'll tell you right now, the books that I'm looking at these days, and I'm just going to grab a couple of them right in front of you guys here. I pulled out Old School. That's a original signed copy by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich.
It's on my table today.
It didn't say me because I wasn't even thought of then. But going back through this one by Peter Drucker, so important right now, because as we're going through the change, it's like, okay, who am I? Why do I exist? Who do I serve? Who is my customer? What are their problems? How do I help them? Like those 5 questions for me, those are relevant with every startup I meet, and they're relevant with every agent I talk to. And then I went super old school because you and I both know the vast majority of real estate professionals have no idea how to sell, and they have no idea how to negotiate. So I was like, in this environment, it's like nobody likes to be closed. Everyone likes to buy, though.
Everybody wants to buy. Nobody. Exactly.
Right? So I go back to this one, right? Soft selling in a hard world. I mean, the first time I read this, I want to say it's like 1991, but I think we're in that same environment where deeper connections, a lot of empathy, really understanding where people are at. And then the thing that we haven't gotten into, and I hope we do, is look, there's agents right now that are marketing like crazy and generating more leads and more appointments and more opportunities, whether it's for right now or middle of the funnel or top of the funnel, at such ridiculous low costs, online and off. Like, I hope we get into that, because if you ask me what are people missing, the vast majority of people, what they did is they turned their marketing minds off.
Exactly.
And they basically said, I'm okay not getting paid till September.
So let's talk about that. I mean, one of the things that I learned from years ago, like I grew up, got out of college. I worked for my dad. He was a dentist, but had a lot of real estate. And we couldn't understand why our commercial tenants stopped advertising during the bad times. They would put all their money in the good times and not the bad times, because that's when you really needed it. Yes. The fact is, you just hit one of the basic facts that people aren't realizing. The cost of ads is way down because everybody, not everybody, but major corps have pulled out of the ad game, especially on social media. And this is the time where the eyeballs are there. I always say to people with social media, Facebook is fake book. We need to make it real book. Well, guess what? COVID-19 has made it a lot more real than it ever was. There's a less of the bullshit that's out there, and a lot of really good stuff coming out. People's feelings. Now we need to be the person that we are in market. to what's going on, but in an empathetic way, and talk about the market, right? You always say the question they have to answer is, how's the market?
How's the market?
So, right. And the way they answer that is probably the most important thing. And the agent that says, oh, it's great, oh, it sucks, that's not the answer.
No. And you and I both know today, it's like, how's the market? It's hour by hour, right? Day by day, right? And like that, like, the truth is always the best answer, even when the truth is, I don't know. The truth is always the best, but it's hour by hour, it's day by day. David, some of my clients, right, they have to buy a house and I'm helping them navigate that. Some of my clients have to sell a home and we're doing it with safety, with the right integrity, making sure that everybody is okay and getting the job done. And the truth is, others of my clients, you know what they're saying? I want to time this a little better. What do you recommend? And we're sitting down and we're really analyzing the current, the numbers, the past, and we're making our best effort to give them the information they need so they can time this right. Like, that's how the market is today.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, it's the people say, well, I want to time it. How can you time it? You know, how do you time it?
Okay, but I'll tell you, right, because, you know, we have a lot of coaching clients and there's a lot of conversations being had and people are tracking and measuring. The two questions that are brought up the most right now is, you got to take, David, like, take everything from a word cloud and suppress it down, or not suppress it, but like synthesize it down to the essence. It's how's the market, which includes how much is my home worth today? How much can I buy today? Is there a COVID-19 discount for buying a house today? Like, how's the market? And the second question is, how do I time this? Right? We're so accustomed to putting our homes on the market in spring, right? Starting in, you know, like, let's face it, in 2019, for most of the Northeast, because of good weather patterns, it really started in like November of 2019. That's when the spring market began. And December was busy, and January was busy, and February was busy, and March was busy. But we were all still seeing the lack of inventory. We were waiting for it to boom.
Right.
Am I recommending you ever? And the answer, look up here, is no. Say, I have a crystal ball, I know when it's going to end, because nobody knows.
Nobody knows. We don't.
But what smart agents are doing right now is they're going, okay, let's go into my market and say, over the last 5 years, how many properties came on the market historically, 5 years in a row, in March, in April, in May, in June, so they can show people, look, over the last 5 years, this is what happened, right? And if you're really smart, and I know you and I are good friends with Steve Harney, I'd go back and look at historical data on how many properties came on the market in 2008, 9, and 10 at the same exact time. And if you can really break it down and go retail versus short sale versus distressed, that kind of stuff, what you're trying to do, my friends, is educate people. Like Steve Harney always says, tell people the truth.
That's right.
Their intelligence. That's how you win today.
Right. So we've come full circle. We've talked about the issues. We've talked about all this stuff. We're running up on time. I want to ask you, what is the future of the virtual agent? What is the future of the virtual thing? I mean, we talked about, is it going to last? And we talked about that before. But is there a huge future in all of this that we're talking about? I mean, I believe there is, because it's relational rather than transactional. And from 2001 to now, we're still transactional for the most part, right? And I believe in 1 through 7, we got to be order takers. It's just like they used to call them waiters and waitresses in restaurants. Now they call them servers, right? Because everybody does everything, and there's not one person that's a point person, but now they call that. But, you know, because I believe there's going to be an explosion in the market, are there going to be just order takers, or are we going to work our virtual to a virtuosity?
You know, I've made some predictions in my time, and I will tell you that I think, sadly, a lot of people are going to expect to go right back to normal. I will tell you that I do get to talk to a lot of CEOs. I coach a lot of CEOs of, you know, one with, let's just call it 95,000 agents.
Yeah.
Another one with 6,000 agents, another one with 1,500 agents, another one with 1,100 agents, and then like some mega teams with 80 or 90 people on their teams. I can tell you emphatically, they are all saying the same thing. I do not need this much space anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And that's what, I mean, a lot of them had realized that over time, where brick and mortar, nobody really cares what color the carpet is.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, the office I work at, I mean, you walk in and we just moved into there and no one said, well, we're going to paint the place. We're going to change the carpet. No, it is what it is. That's what we're going to use. We don't need anything.
Yeah. I mean, like I was talking to one of my clients and she said to me, she said, I got Martha in my office in X city and, she's had that desk for like 27 years. And I'm like, look, Martha right now is sitting at home on her laptop on a Zoom session, slacking back and forth with her friends. Like everything has changed. So I think that's going to be a factor. I think we're going to look at, I hope, the sort of insanity of the market. I hope we can figure out a little more transparency, right, in certain areas. I think there's a lot of companies that are committed to that. But outside of that, sadly, David, I think that the vast majority of people are going to be grasping so desperately for normalcy that they're going to want to fall right back into it again, which means we're going to go right back into the rat race of transactions, which means busy agents will be busy and agents that only work with buyers and couldn't get a listing and don't know how to negotiate are going to keep writing offers that don't go through. Like we're just going to fall right back into that. But I hope that like some of us, we hold on to the humanity because that's the thing that I'm most inspired by. And then I'll give you I got to give you two little pro tips too on marketing. The thing I'm inspired by right now, talking with all my other CEO buddies of not just real estate companies, but just, friends.
Yes.
HR issues are at 0 right now.
Yes.
I mean, guys, 0. Like, in a typical, David looked at me the wrong way and I don't like it. What's he doing? Right. All that shit's gone. Right. Like none of that stuff exists anymore. My company, your company, all these companies. The other thing that people are just maybe mindful of is I've seen a lot of compassion, right? And that inspires me, right? Steve Harney said it best. There's basically only 2 kinds of agents right now. The people that got into real estate because they were looking to make a fast buck.
Yep.
They're gone. And the people that saw this as a calling because they understand that contribution is something that in their heart and in their soul, they want to solve problems. They want to help people. They've got that service mentality that like, I want to give back. Those people, they're going to kill it. And you're seeing their behaviors really shine right now. So I got to give you really quick on marketing. So listen to that. A couple of years ago, what is it? Just a year ago when Facebook got busted with some people basically hacking their ad system.
Yeah.
They then went out and created, so everyone should write this down, facebook.com/ads, ADS, /library. Facebook.com/ads, /library. The thing that I keep telling everybody is listen, I got some smart friends in this business, right? The former chairman of realtor.com is a really good friend of mine and a mentor. The former CEO of realtor.com is a really good friend of mine and is on my board. I get to talk to him all the time, right? The guys at Zillow, the 2 that used to run it that don't work there anymore are really good friends of mine. And the chairman who founded it, right? Who I've known forever. If you right now want to generate leads, go to facebook.com/ads /library and look at the ads that Zillow's running right now and look at the ads that realtor.com are running right now because they are continuing to drive a lot of traffic and like all that pent up demand.
Yes, sir.
Jessica Lutz today, who's the sort of doctor of behaviors of all things for NAR. And she was like, Tom, the demand online that we're seeing, like talking to my buddy Greer Allen, who owns Boomtown, he's like, our number of users, people going to the sites, it's down like maybe 3 or 4%. But the time on site is up 5 times. The amount of people coming back and looking at properties is through the roof. Like the pent up demand right now for people that are smart with digital advertising, you're going to kill it. And if you've avoided this, don't just go to there and look at what all the ads are that Zillow does and Realtor does.
Right.
But you can get a flavor for, truly exceptional marketeers. I'm looking at this one I was sharing with a client. It literally says, just a soft blue, and it says, never has a home been more important than now.
Absolutely.
Think about that, right? I'm like, I want that. Yes, you are right. I bought a 2,000 square foot apartment in Manhattan, and I suddenly discovered I only have 900 square feet of actual living space, right? I want a place in Jersey.
Yeah. So look, just for some thoughts here. Number one, views on Zillow and MLS and all those are up 200 to 400%. Number one. for everybody else, one of the other things that I think is going to happen is going to give us a good surge is the people that are stuck in their homes. They're going to say, geez, I hate this freaking house. I got to get something else. That's going to happen. And just, I wanted for agents out there, I was on a phone with a new client just before this call, in the business 42 years. And look, everybody who thinks they can't do the stuff that we're talking about, that's a lot of crap. She's doing it. Everybody else is doing it. It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are. I'm a couple years older than you. And you know what? I got licensed when I was first licensed in 76 when I was 2. So, you know, it works a long way. Tom, we're running up against the clock. Final thoughts from you. People know how to get in touch with TomFerry.com, but final thoughts from you. Really cool.
Yeah, what I would say is to everybody, first of all, from myself and my family and our whole community and tribe, like we wish you all blessings and safety, and just know this, that if you've been ghosted in the world, like it's time to come back. We need you. And then the second thing I would tell you is right now, like, God, I want to say it was like 2007. So a little story, David, and then I'll wrap.
Go.
I'm on the golf course. The whole world is melting down. It's July. If you all remember July of 2007, like
I do.
Banks were going under in like, you know, March and April, and that was tragic. And I'm sitting on the golf course and a buddy walks up. He's like, hey, Ferry, you want to play with me and my pal? And I'm like, yeah, sure, man. Like, introduce myself to the guy, his friend. I'm like, what's your name? He's like, I'm David. I'm like, oh, David, what are you doing? He says, oh, I work for Google. And I was like, pretty big company. I'm like, what do you do? And he says, I'm in charge of the homepage. I was like, oh, why don't you ride with me? Right? Threw him in my car, David, and we start driving around. His name is David On, right? You Google him. Brilliant guy. He's like, tell me about your business. I said, well, you know, I'm in this business where I do trainings and coaching and events. And I said, I know you're at Google. I said, I've been blogging, but I'm really thinking about doing podcasts. Now, we didn't call it podcasts in 2007. We said, I'm recording audio messages, right? Like that's what we were doing back then.
Right.
And the guy at Google looks at me, you know, we're probably 3-4 holes in. So we have a little rapport, and he goes, those are stupid. And I was like, so basically when the Wizard of Oz, because the guy's in charge of the homepage, that's his job, the homepage. I go, oh, I said, well, what do you recommend? He goes, well, we just bought this company called YouTube. And I was like, yeah, Charlie Bit My Finger, cat videos, the dancing guy. And he said, listen to me, Ferry. He said, if you were smart, you would just switch right now to video and you would be so far ahead of everybody else. I don't know, July 9th, I launched my first YouTube channel. 2 years later, I rebranded it and started my current one. Now we're getting, 1 million plus views a month. And I say that, like I'm no genius. It goes back to like that story with Gary Vaynerchuk, buy Netflix. Like when I hear good advice that makes sense for me, for my business, for my brand, I jump on it. So now I'm telling people, look, I have been talking about video since 2008 with real estate professionals. And to this day, I still have people like, no, I'm just not comfortable with video. And whenever my hair is wrong. And I literally look at them and I'm just like, shut up. No one cares. Get over yourself. Your customers know what you look like and know what you sound like. Like there is a tribe for everyone.
That's right.
If you're not doing this on the daily, hey guys, like for me, hey, today's day 21 of quarantine, just checking in. I'm reading this book. Here's what I'm doing. If you're not doing market updates, telling people the truth about what's happening, if you're not sharing a little bit online, live on Facebook, live on Instagram, live on YouTube, live on LinkedIn, live on Twitter, or filming it once and just posting it everywhere, if you're not doing that right now, like all the gloves are off. No one cares. You're in a Zoom session and a cat shows up and they get right in the camera and everybody goes, oh, that's a cute cat. You would have done that 4 weeks ago. They would have said, oh, that's so unprofessional, right? Now kids are yelling. My son just walked above me like, don't, I can hear it, right? No one cares.
That's right. That's right.
Yourself out there. That's my point.
I want everybody to realize the imperfection in video is the connection. I've been doing video for 12, 13 years. I know exactly what it is. We're going to wrap now, but I know I want to thank you so much for coming on. And I know this was the topper for you to come on was to get one of these hats. I love your hat. And look, I honestly, Tom, what I like is for people to send me swag when I send it to them.
Okay, hold on. I'm looking now. I got something.
All right, cool. So I'm going to send this out to you. I want to thank you so much. You've more than earned the hat. I want to thank everybody for coming on. Pete Kopech, one of my old agents, and Julio and Jennifer and Sekou and Matt and so many others. Jackie, thanks so much for coming on. and this is going to be out there. We're gonna cut this all up, put pieces, and put the whole thing out. Tom, just stay out for a second. Everybody, thank you so much. And don't forget, we are still on Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Well, actually, Fanale and Ferry, but you never know. It's Friday. We've got an SEO expert by the name of Tim O'Keefe, right? Sales is a menial game. We have Tim O'Keefe, SEO expert on Friday. It's all in your head, right? Tom, thanks so much. Everybody, see you later. Peace.